The world was still asleep when my paws first hit the pavement. It's a job, you see, not what I was hired for, but one I chose. Every morning, before the sun even thinks about stretching its golden arms over the horizon, I take to the streets. My name is Buster, and these are my streets. I know every crack in the sidewalk, every ajar gate, every mischievous squirrel's favorite hiding spot. The cool pre-dawn air is my companion, and the scent of morning dew is my fuel. This morning, though, something was different. I trotted past Mrs. Gable's house, where her prized rose bushes usually drooped with dew, but today, the dew drops were. Climbing back up the pedals, I blinked, shook my head. Must be a trick of the light, I thought. I continued my patrol, my tail giving a confident wag. I rounded the corner onto Elm Street, my favorite part of the route, because the bakery vents are right at nose level. The delicious scent of yesterday's bread usually lingers, a faint promise of the fresh loaves to come. But the smell was getting stronger, not fainter. It was as if the bread was unbaking itself. Then I saw it. A discarded newspaper, which had been flattened by a passing car tire, suddenly puffed up, lifted off the ground, and sailed gracefully back onto Mr. Henderson's porch, landing in a neat, unread pile. I froze, my ears perked, my tail now tucked between my legs. What was happening? A plastic bottle rocketed out of a gutter and landed perfectly upright on a lawn. A trail of muddy paw prints not mine were vanishing one by one, retreating back toward the park. Panic began to bubble in my chest. This wasn't right. The world had rules, paws make prints. Newspapers get delivered, then read, then thrown away. Time only ever moved in one direction. I'd seen a whole year of seasons come and go. I knew how this worked. I heard a frantic yipping from down the block. It was Daisy, the little poodle from 2 houses down. She was spinning in circles, chasing her own tail in a frenzy of confusion. Her human was standing on the porch, a leash in his hand, his mouth moving. But the words came out strange, jumbled, as if he were speaking backwards. He called her name, Daisy, come, but the sound was mock, Wusian. He held out a treat, but it flew from her mouth back into his hand. Daisy just whined, utterly bewildered. Her whole world of commands and rewards had been turned upside down. I saw other dogs in their yards, barking at nothing, or rather, at things that had just unhappened. A ball flew backwards from midair into a boy's hand. A gate that had swung open slammed itself shut. The comfortable, predictable rhythm of my neighborhood was broken, shattered into a million confusing pieces. The world was spooling backward, and we were all just passengers on a ride we couldn't control. I felt a deep, instinctual fear. If a thrown stick could fly back to the hand, and that threw it, what did that mean for me? For my morning patrol? For the sun that was supposed to rise? My first instinct was to run, to hide under my porch until this nightmare was over, but then I looked around at the chaos. The other dogs were lost, their humans were just as confused. Someone had to do something, and my job, the one I chose, was to guard these streets. That job didn't stop just because the rules had changed. I took a breath. If the world was going backward, maybe I had to go forward. It was a crazy thought, a dog's thought, simple and maybe stupid, but it was the only one I had. I tried to take a step forward, down the street, continuing my patrol route. It was like walking into a strong wind. The air itself seemed to push against me, a thick, invisible resistance. My paws felt heavy, like they were sinking into mud. Every inch was a struggle. The world wanted me to go back, to retrace my steps, to undo my morning walk, but I wouldn't. I pushed harder. I lowered my head, dug my claws into the asphalt, and leaned into the invisible current. I was walking against time itself. It was exhausting. My muscles burned. I saw my own paw prints appearing in front of me, and then stepping into them, instead of leaving them behind. It was the strangest feeling. The scent of the unbaking bread grew fainter as I pushed past the bakery, moving forward while the world moved back. I passed Daisy's house again. She was still whining, but she saw me. She saw me fighting, pushing against the backward flow. Her whining softened to a whimper, She watched me, her head cocked. I kept going, one agonizing step at a time. I had to get to the end of the street. I had to finish my patrol. It was the only thing I knew how to do. I walked past houses where lights were turning off instead of on. I saw sleepy faces disappearing from windows. Cars that had just left their driveways were now rolling silently back into their garages, their engines quieting. The world was putting itself to bed, just as it was supposed to be waking up. But I kept walking forward. I was a tiny anchor of forward motion in an ocean of reverse. The sky, which had been lightening, began to darken again, the faint pre-dawn glow receding into inky blackness. This was the most terrifying part. Was I undoing the sunrise? My heart pounded with a new kind of fear. Maybe I was making things worse. Maybe I should just give in, let time carry me back to my dog bed, back to the safety of yesterday. But then I thought about my job, about the familiar rhythm of the morning, the slam of car doors, the cheerful calls of good morning, the smell of coffee and toast. I thought about the sun warming my fur as I took my mid-morning nap on the porch. That world was worth fighting for. So I pushed on, my legs trembled with exhaustion. My lungs burned. I was just one dog against everything. But I didn't stop. I fixed my eyes on the eastern horizon, where the sun was supposed to be, and I walked toward it. I walked for what felt like an eternity, a single, stubborn point of defiance. And then something changed. The resistance lessened, just a little. The air didn't feel quite so thick. I took another step, and it was easier. And another, the darkness on the horizon wavered. A sliver of light, pale and hesitant, appeared. It wasn't retreating, it was holding its ground. I whimpered with effort and relief, and I picked up my pace. I broke into a slow trot, then a steady run. The world was still trying to pull me back, but its grip was weakening. The light on the horizon grew, pushing back the darkness. A warm, golden edge crested the distant hills. The sunrise, it was happening. As the first full ray of sun broke free, the world snapped back into place. A newspaper fluttered from Mr. Henderson's porch onto the lawn. A car engine sputtered to life. Daisy's human called her name. Daisy, come. And this time, the words flew straight and true. She barked happily and bounded toward him. The smells of the bakery shifted, the old bread scent finally giving way to the new. I stood in the middle of the street, panting, my body aching. The morning was here. The birds began to sing their usual song. The neighborhood was waking up, just as it always did, completely unaware of the backward chaos that had almost consumed it. My paw prints were now trailing behind me, marking the path I had taken. Everything was normal. The sun climbed higher, warming my tired fur. My job was done. The morning had been saved. Not by a hero, not by magic, but because one dog, on his morning patrol, decided that when the world started going the wrong way, the only thing to do was to keep walking forward. I wagged my tail, turned, and trotted for home, ready for a well-deserved breakfast. After all, the streets were safe and a new day had begun. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories.